In this session, we're going to go deeper into the psychology of making an irresistible offer. We're going to talk about how to create compelling marketing pieces and other communications. So the key to your marketing success is your offer. In fact, your entire marketing process can be seen as setting up and lining up your offer. Your offer is the way you communicate the match between your customer's need and your product or service. So I say the key here in quotes because everything that we're doing here is about getting to the point where we say to someone who's a qualified prospect, you should trade your money for this product or service that I'm offering you. That's the moment where it all happens. If you don't get to that moment, well, then you never, can earn any money. You can never sell stuff. And if you get to that moment and you don't make a strong offer, well, then your prospect isn't going to trade you their money for the value you're offering in your product or service. So this is where it all comes together. It's really the moment of truth, so to speak. Okay, so we can see the entire process that we're doing in marketing, running ads and getting traffic and getting people to opt into our list and read our newsletters and watch our videos and follow us on social media. All of this is lining up the offer. And when one of your prospects goes through your whole process and gets to the point where now they're ready to make an investment to solve their problem or get the outcome that they want, it's critical that you clearly communicate the match between your customer's need and the result that your product or service offers. Okay, this is what it's all about. This is why we're doing this in the first place. So very important to focus on your offer and to use everything that you've learned so far to create a very powerful and compelling offer. And speaking of which, right, let's review quickly. Remember to always align. Okay, one of the key mistakes I see, the entire marketing process, it's not aligned. So again, to your customer, everything you say, everything you do is part of one big communication sequence. It's one experience to them. You must remember this as you create every part of your marketing. You must remember this as you create every part of your marketing sequence so you achieve continuity leading up to your offer. Okay, so everything is about the offer, and we want to align. We want to always align every piece with every other piece so there's continuity. As Stephen Covey says, we need to begin with the end in mind. Okay, the end of the offer when you actually ask them to make a decision. So begin with a simple explanation of the benefit you're offering, the way you're delivering the benefit, and the investment your customer will make. Basically, we're doing a boiled down elevator pitch. So for example, lose 20 pounds in 90 days. Right? And the basic equation is go through my 90-day teleclass program. The investment is only $497. So we've got the benefit, which is lose 20 pounds in 90 days. We've got the way that you're delivering it here, which is go through my 90-day teleclass program. And then we've got the investment. Okay, the investment is only $497. Now, this is pretty compelling as is, okay, because you're talking right to the prospect. Lose 20 pounds in 90 days. Go through my 90-day teleclass program. Investment only $497. It's nice and crisp. There aren't any wasted words. I understand what it is. Now, we want to do this. We want to boil down what it is that we're offering into a simple sentence like this, a simple formula, so that in our minds we know what we're offering. Okay, so that we're always talking about these things. We're talking about how good it's going to feel to lose those 20 pounds of fat. We're going to talk about how you're going to do it in 90 days in a simple weekly teleclass where you're going to get one lesson. You're going to get one thing to do that week. You're going to do it. You're going to lose the weight. And we're going to be talking about what a great deal this is, only $497. We're going to keep coming back to those things over and over and over. And if we don't begin with the end in mind, if we don't summarize what our offer is, in other words, the benefit to the customer, exactly how they're going to get it, and what the investment is, if we haven't summarized it in our mind, we're not going to be clear and we're not going to sound clear as we're doing our marketing. Okay, so very important that we begin with the end in mind, summarize our offer. In copywriting, we do something called speak writing, and here we'll call it speak communicating, and we want to do it clearly. So when creating a marketing campaign, remember to communicate the way humans communicate directly, one to another. Use words, phrases, sentences that are as clear and easy to understand as possible. Speak to one person, your prospect, directly. Notice kind of the tone of voice that I use. Notice how I address you as I'm teaching. Okay, this is the kind of voice that I want to encourage you to develop. A one-to-one, friendly, direct voice. Whether you're writing, whether you're giving an audio, whether you're teaching, whether you're doing a video. It's very friendly, it's very personable, and it captures attention because another person can tell when you're talking directly to them rather than talking at a large group of people. Make a compelling statement. Okay, so start every step of your marketing campaign with a compelling statement of benefit that promises to solve a specific problem or deliver a specific result. When creating this headline or opening statement, each word matters much more, so be economical. So at the very beginning of your marketing communication, you want to capture attention and you want to be as clear as possible. So we'll use everything that we've learned so far, identifying the emotional hot button of your prospect, and then putting it into a simple statement that grabs their attention and promises a compelling benefit. Next, tell a personal story. Humans understand things in relationship to other things, and we put groups of complex things together into stories. That's how we can remember lots of stuff. We also relate better to human stories because we're human, and we have similar experiences and understanding mechanisms. So, for example here, when I created my Wake Up Productive program and then I launched it, I needed to come up with a compelling headline and a compelling story. And so I don't have it right here in front of me, but that's actually kind of good because the headline that I wrote and the story that I told were pretty simple. And the bottom line was, in this program, I will teach you how to double your productivity. And what I also noticed about my own experience doubling my productivity with the materials that I taught inside of Wake Up Productive is that I doubled my productivity and I took more time. I had more free time and more breaks, and I lost about 25 pounds in the process. Okay, so in my headline I said, how I doubled my productivity, took more time off, and lost 25 pounds in the process. And what's nice about that is it's leading right into the story because I say, here's how I did it. And then I tell the story about how I got to a point in my business where I was very busy, working 80 hours a week. And I needed to launch a new business, and I just, I didn't have another set of hands to do it, so I had to do something different. And I took everything I learned about productivity and put it together with some new secrets that I learned and was able to successfully launch my new business, take even more time off, and as a kind of side benefit with these techniques, I lost about 25 pounds. Now, this is super compelling. Who is it compelling to, right? What kind of person would that kind of headline and that kind of story be compelling to? Well, it would be compelling to someone who wants to launch a business or do something to increase their financial productivity, who would like to take more time off, and who might like to get in better physical shape and lose some weight. Okay? Anyone that's in that situation would definitely want to read the story that I'm about to tell. And who does that describe when I say someone who'd like to increase their financial productivity, maybe start or build a business or build their career. They'd like to take more time off and they'd like to lose some weight, right? It describes most of the people who would be interested in this kind of thing. In fact, it actually describes most people, but that's kind of another story. So very compelling. If you can, tell a personal story. It's not absolutely necessary to do any of the pieces that I'm telling you here, but the more of them you can add to your offer, the better. After you've kind of had a compelling headline, after you've told a great introductory story, or you've given some way into your marketing piece, you want to introduce your product as a solution and as a result. Okay, so when introducing your product, remember that your prospect isn't interested in the product. They want to have their problem solved or the result delivered. So naming your product something like lose 20 pounds in 90 days is much better than the health teleclass series, for example. So after a great headline, after telling a personal story, then saying something like, and I was successful doing this. A lot of other people wanted to learn how to do this. I taught them, they were successful. And so now I've decided to teach others, and I've put together a course, Lose 20 Pounds in 90 Days. So what you're doing is you're not just introducing a product, you're introducing a solution. When I say I'd like to introduce you to my course called Lose 20 Pounds in 90 Days, the mind of the prospect isn't saying, oh, this is a product. The mind of the prospect is saying, oh, that's what I want. I want to get that thing. So you're introducing your product as the solution and really as the result. Okay, the product here is lose 20 pounds in 90 days. So we're not just saying, hey, look at how fancy my product is and look at me and buy my thing. We're introducing something that already sounds like a benefit. It's a very powerful frame when creating a marketing offer. It's also important to bulletize your benefits. Okay, so take your original list of fears and frustrations and wants and aspirations and convert every one of them into a statement of benefit, like a little mini headline. And select the most compelling statements and use them in a section of kind of what you'll get when you share what you're going to learn inside of the product, the benefits that you're going to realize. I'm actually going to give you an example here in a moment, and hopefully you've already gone through the session on writing copy, and so you know what I'm talking about. But important, as a reminder, bulletize all your benefits. Also, very important to translate your value. Okay, so humans aren't very good at figuring out what things are worth, which is a major reason why so many people are relatively poor, because they don't understand how to move value around, create value. So find a simple way to explain the value of what you're offering, and then connect the investment to the return in a way that anyone could understand and see as an excellent deal, even at 10 times the price. So for example, when I market my book, Double Your Dating, and I get to the part where I actually make the offer and I ask you to spend the $19.97 on the book, I might say something like, let me ask you a question. How much would you pay to never be rejected again by a woman? How much would it be worth to you? Okay, for the price of, dinner for one, you can get this book, and you can not only learn, all these great dating techniques, but you can also learn how to take women to places that don't cost any money, that they'll have even more fun and enjoy the experience more than paying for expensive dates. So the point is that I'm showing you how the value is there. I'm translating the value into terms that you can understand. If I was teaching a course on how to get out of debt, I would do a calculation and I would show someone, hey, if you invest in my course for $500, it's going to save you $25,000 over the next 5 years, based on the average cost of servicing the debt, of the average person. In other words, I want to connect up the value so that it's very easy to understand. Next, remove the risk, or if possible, reverse it. Okay, so you take on the risk. So in every transaction, each party is assuming risk, a lot more risk than the other party typically assumes. And the more risk you can take away, the better. Ideally, you'd create a situation where you are assuming more risk than the other person. Now, remember that each party in a transaction thinks that they're the one taking all the risk. Yeah, that's just the way we humans are. When I talk to business owners and I say, do you offer a guarantee? And they say, no. And I say, well, great. Let's start with a 30-day money-back guarantee. No questions asked. Almost always the first thing they say is, well, what happens if people start asking for their money back? I can't afford that. In other words, they go into fear. Instead of asking the question, how much could that increase my sales? Right? They immediately go to, how much could that decrease my sales? And the reality is that if you offer a really great guarantee, sometimes even better than money back, where you get to keep things even if you ask for your money back, or you get cash for wasting time even if you get your money back, sometimes you can double or even triple your sales. Now, yes, sometimes your refunds will go up. But if you could double your sales and double your refunds, would you do it? Right? And if you take out a calculator and you think about it for about 4 seconds, you're going to say, yes, of course I'd double my sales and double my refunds. So remove the risk or even reverse it. Direct to action. Okay, so tell your prospect exactly what to do in order to get the benefit that they want. Connect the action that they're taking with the benefit. Okay, for example, click the button below that says register now, and you'll be learning how to get out of debt in less than 3 minutes from right now. Okay, so connect the action you want them to take. Okay, so click on the button that says register now and order, and you'll be learning how to get out of debt in less than 3 minutes. So you connect the action with the benefit that they're going to get. At the end of your pitch, so to speak, you actually have to tell the person what to do in order to get the benefit that they want. They're not clicking the button below to order so that they can give you money. They're clicking the button below that says register now so that they can learn how to get out of debt in 3 minutes. Okay, so we got to connect what we want them to do with the benefit that they want. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a sales video script. I'm actually going to read the whole thing to you and do a little commentary on it. And this is a script that you can see that I use right now. I've got a video online where I offer my Turning Your Talent into Income program. And I created an information product. It was originally a 1-day program that I gave, and I recorded all the sessions, and I released it as a 9-part audio program. And this program basically teaches you how to identify kind of your natural talents and then find opportunities where you can use them in the business world, connect them, and then develop your gifts and your talents into skills that you can be paid highly for. And what I did is I sat down and I wrote a sales video for this one. And I probably wrote this entire script in, about an hour or 90 minutes. Now, I want to warn you, this is not the best marketing piece I've ever done. It's pretty short, in fact. Okay, it's about, it's about 2.5 pages of copy. Okay, so it's not a super long script. Okay, it's about 2.5 typewritten pages of 11-point font. I make a couple of kind of copy boo-boos in here, and in fact, there are a couple of things that I told you to do that aren't even in here, and yet this offer converts very, very well. In fact, it's one of the best converting offers that we've launched. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read to you the script, and I'm going to tell you what's involved. I'm going to explain to you how I did it and why. Okay, so the script starts off like this. Hi, it's Eben Pagan, and in this video, I'd like to talk to you about how to identify your natural gifts or talents, and then how to connect them to the biggest business opportunities that exist now and that will exist in the future, so you can turn your talent into income. Okay, so that's basically my opening line. That's my headline, even though it's on a video. I'm going to read that opening line again. Hi, it's Eben Pagan, and in this video I'd like to talk to you about how to identify your natural gifts or talents, and then how to connect them to the biggest business opportunities that exist now and that will exist in the future, so you can turn your talent into income. Now, I particularly like this because the name of the product is turning your talent into income, and I say it right here, so you can turn your talent into income. And I've already set you up so that later, when I actually do the introduction to the product itself, you've already heard the words. They're already connected in your mind to you turning your natural gifts into higher income. Okay, so that's kind of the headline. I'm just going to jam through the rest of this here. Okay, back in. After spending over 10 years teaching literally millions of people around the world how to succeed in their lives, both personally and professionally, and after now selling over $100 million worth of products and services in my own business, I've realized that most people still haven't figured out what their natural talents and gifts are. And most people still haven't figured out how to identify the biggest opportunities in the business world to connect their talents and gifts to, so they can literally turn their unique talents into high income. Just going to do a pause quickly here. That's my story. Okay, I didn't tell much of a story. In this case, because of what I'm teaching, I've got a pretty good reputation. I've had a lot of success. I don't have to do a long story here. I can just say I've had some pretty good success. That kind of positions me, and then I dive right into the content here. Okay, so that kind of sets it up, and then here we go. There's a very common myth in the work and business world that I'd like to talk about. It goes like this: do what you love and the money will follow. Now, I'm going to be direct with you here. If you just do what you love without any training and mentoring, and without connecting your natural, unique talents to big business opportunities, the money isn't going to follow. You're going to follow the money. If you're serious about turning your talent into money, you must do a few key things. 1, you must identify your natural gifts. 2, you must identify big current and future opportunities in the business world. 3, you must create a connection between your talent and a highly paid need. And 4, you must develop your gifts into valuable skills and expertise that businesses and people pay a lot for. If you don't do these things in this order, you stand a very low chance of ever making real professional level income. So let's talk about the first one, identifying your natural gifts. It's a little woo-woo to say this, but each of us is born with a unique combination of personality traits and a unique set of intelligences. Scientists, psychologists, and genetics experts are discovering that there are very specific ways that each of us is a genius. Some of us are physical geniuses, meaning that we're good working with physical things, using our hands, building things, fixing things. Some of us are emotional geniuses who are great at connecting with other people, persuading others, and building relationships. And some of us are mental or intellectual geniuses who are good at understanding complex ideas and systems. But this is just the beginning. We're now learning that there are literally a dozen or more types of genius that exists, and that each of us is a combination of more than one type in most cases. But it's not enough to just identify what you're naturally talented at. You must then develop your talent. And it's not enough to just develop your talent. You must identify the biggest opportunity in the job and business world, and then develop it for that opportunity. Because this is such a huge need, and because I've met so many people who have never taken the time to identify their natural gifts, then find the biggest opportunities in business to develop them towards, I decided to create an in-depth training program designed specifically to walk you through the process of identifying your natural gifts and turning them into high pay in the business world. The program is called Turning Your Talent into Income, and I'd like to explain what you're going to learn and how it's going to change your life when you use it. First of all, here are a few of the things you're going to learn when you go through this program. Okay, quick time out here for a sec. Now notice how I set this up. Okay, I talked to what their need is, and I actually gave some of the content. And I actually said, here are the steps that you need to take. You have to identify your gift, you have to identify opportunity, you have to connect them, you have to develop your gifts into skills. So I actually talk about a 4-step process here, and then I actually go into talking about how, right now we're discovering in science and so forth. So bottom line is I'm giving some content, but it's also making the case very strong at the same time. Kind of one of my favorite things to do. Another important thing here is, because I talk about these 4 steps inside of the sales video, I can actually send out emails, I can run ads that say the 4 things you need to do to identify your talent and turn it into income. And then that can be an advertisement to come and watch this video, because I actually do share the 4 things. Okay, great. So there's kind of the setup. And then I introduce the product, turning your talent into income. Again, notice that the name of the product is actually the result that they want. Okay, it's actually turning your talent into income. It's the name of the product. Now, these are the bullets. Okay, so we're going to dive back in here. First of all, here are the few things you're going to learn when you go through this program. You're going to learn the 6 biggest obstacles that prevent people from achieving income success in the business world and how to overcome them. It's taken me many years to discover and identify these 6 obstacles, and in this program, you're going to learn exactly what they are so you can avoid them. You're going to learn the 7 key mindsets that allow you to achieve success in the business world. Most people literally prevent themselves from achieving success because they don't even know how to think about turning their talent into income. These 7 mindsets will show you the right way to approach identifying your natural talents and turning them into high income. You'll learn about 2 different personality type systems and 11 different types of genius that we can have, and how to figure out which types you are. You're going to learn how your type can succeed big in the business world, so you finally have a roadmap of where to go and what to do, and where people like you are in demand and paid big. You're going to learn what I believe to be the 10 biggest growth business opportunities for the next 20 years, so you can either build a business or build a work career in one of these areas. Most businesses and industries are not going to do well in the future, in my opinion. A very few of them will do extraordinarily well, and if you know what those businesses and industries are, then you can capitalize on them. It has taken me many years to identify this list and be able to explain it quickly and clearly, and you're going to really benefit from knowing what the top growth businesses are. You're also going to learn which businesses to avoid, because if you choose the wrong industry and invest too much time inside it, you could cost yourself years or even decades of your life and sacrifice a lot of potential income. Next, you're going to learn about the 7 key highly paid roles in business and how to figure out which one is the best opportunity for you. When you connect your natural personality and talents with big growth business opportunities, then connect them with the right role for you, then you've identified the key formula or equation to turn your talent into income. I'm going to show you the highest paid individual skills to build in your new business role, and also how to get yourself to actually learn these skills, because ultimately what businesses and people pay for is skills, not just talent. Finally, the culmination of the program is the last sessions, where I teach you how to focus more and more time every day on those activities that pay you more and more money, whether you're working in a professional role or job or in your own business. In other words, this is a complete training on how to identify your talent and turn it into income in the long term, not just right now. The format of the program is 9 audio sessions plus 9 exercises, about 9 hours of training that I will walk you through individually. I created the program specifically as an audio program so that you can listen to it while you're driving, exercising, or doing other activities. It's really a reference library of insights that you're going to come back to over and over again. You can stream each of the sessions online. You can download them to your computer so that you have them to listen to whenever you'd like, forever. Now, what I'm going to teach you in this program is an education that I've literally invested millions of dollars to learn. Not only from my investments in training, coaching, books, and other learning that I've done, but also from the business mistakes and experiences that I've had. This is very valuable training. And there's really nothing like this training in the world, and that's why I had to create it. It's an education you will never get, even if you go to an expensive $100,000 executive MBA program. honestly, I think this knowledge is priceless. And even though this education cost me millions of dollars to get, I've decided to make this program accessible to everyone because I really want to help as many people as possible to identify their natural talents, then turn them into high income in business in the long term. Now, most of the professional and business trainings that I sell are priced in the range of $2,000 to $10,000 plus, but the tuition investment for turning your talent into income is only $97. Then I offer a couple of bonuses to really stack the value. I offer a 100% money back guarantee, and I say this program comes with a 100% money back guarantee. Register for the program now, go through the entire course, take 30 days to use what you learn. And if you don't believe that this program is worth many times the investment, just send me an email that says cancel and I'll refund all of your money. No questions, no hassles. So click on the button below this video that says register now, complete the registration form on the next page, and you'll be learning how to turn your talent into income in just a few minutes. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you inside and helping you make big things happen in your professional life. Okay, so, how long did that take me to read that? That was probably, 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes or so with a little bit of commentary there. And hopefully you can see all the different pieces and how they're assembled. But more importantly, you can see how it's all done in kind of a conversational way. And what I keep saying over and over and over and over and over and over is identify your natural talents, identify opportunities in the business world, create the connection between the two, and then develop your gifts into skills that businesses and people pay a lot for. Pretty much everything that I'm saying is supporting one of those things. And because I'm clear about that little formula, that's all I have to do is keep saying those things over and over and over. And then when I introduce the product called Turning Your Talent into Income, it's kind of a natural close. It's a natural sell. So there's a good example. What we're going to do right now is let's go ahead and let's do a little question and answer. Okay. Good. Looks like we got some questions here. From Pam. Do you memorize your script or have it on a prompter when creating videos? Also, how long does this marketing formula align with why, what, how, what if, or is it meant to? Thanks, Evan. Good. So, so basically, let me answer the second part of the question first. Why, what, how, what if is kind of woven into everything that I do. I could take this script that I just read to you and we could take it apart and I could show you how why, what, how, particularly why, what, how, and some what if is woven into all of it at many levels. So it's definitely used a lot in there. And then in terms of memorizing the script, God, no, of course I don't. I typically, if I've written something out like this, I will read it. And typically when I was making videos in the past, I would make an outline for myself, and then I would just kind of improvise the actual words. So I'd have bullet points, and then I'd improvise the actual words. But I've found that now, it's worth the extra hour or two or whatever it is to flesh the whole thing out and to actually have all the words. And it's less stressful to just kind of read it. The one thing you have to practice doing, though, is reading in a way that doesn't sound like you're reading, right? Because a lot of us, when, and I know I used to, when I would read something, it would sound like I was reading, so it'd be like, there's a very common myth in work and business that I'd like to talk about. It goes like this: do what you love and the money will follow. Right? That just sounds like I'm reading. But I've, practiced, I listen to how I talk, and then I try to read something in a way I would naturally speak it, add pauses and things so that I can say, there's a very common myth in the work and business world that I'd like to talk to you about. And it goes like this: do what you love and the money will follow. So even though I'm reading it, it sounds like I'm speaking it. So that's a skill worth learning. It's something to practice. Great question. From Maribel, in terms of conversion, what gives you better results, the video or text sales letters? I've actually found that the video sales letters now, and I've used both, but I think the video sales letters are becoming more current. People are a little more engaged by them, and a lot of folks are having better work with them. I still do use text sales letters in many cases, but honestly, Maribel, the long form text sales letters that I've written that oftentimes will go 20, 30, 40 pages, those take a long time to write, and I can create a really good video sales letter in a fraction of the time. And so since I kind of create a lot of products and things, and I'm kind of lazy, I do a lot more video these days. Let's see here. Oh, Christy asks, love the copy. How do you read it on the video you produced? What I've done, I really use very unsophisticated tools in my studio. I've got a computer monitor, a cheap computer monitor hooked up to a Mac laptop, and the person who helps me with my video just puts the file up on the page and just scrolls through it as I read it. Okay, so it's I don't have any fancy software or anything like that. I've got my video person who turns on the video recorder and scrolls through the text. Very, very simple. You should be able to hire someone in just about any city that could do a great job. Typically, between $15 and $30 an hour. $15 an hour will get you someone on the low end who's probably in school who can do a good enough job of setting up a couple of lights and a video camera. $30 an hour will get you someone who really knows their stuff and is can set up a really professional looking set and help you do a great job. Okay, so Martin asks, basically says that there's a general formula and steps. Yeah, so Martin, just quickly, yeah, there's a formula. I basically shared it here in this session and in the other video. And what you're going to want to do is everyone here is going to get access to my copywriting summit in January. Okay, and in case you didn't hear, I announced that last week. So everybody's going to get to come to that 2 days, and we're going to dive in and really learn how to do this stuff like in depth. For now, I just wanted to use this simple example so that you can see that it doesn't have to be intimidating. It's something that you can kind of sit down and you can knock it out and create a pretty good video pretty quickly. Another question that I know is on the minds of kind of a lot of folks here is, I obviously have a lot of years of business experience. I can talk about millions of dollars in sales and all these other kinds of things. And I can hear that in the minds of some folks saying, well, I haven't done millions of dollars of sales, or I don't sell courses that are $10,000 that I could compare the tuition to. Those things help. No question that it helps at the beginning of this thing for me to say I've sold millions of dollars worth of products. But you know what? It would work almost as well if I said I've invested 10 years studying this area, and I've helped myself do it, and I have a good income, and I've helped other people do it, and they've got a good income. And I didn't say millions of dollars, but all the rest of the sales letter was still the same, Or, at the end where I say, I want to price this course so you can afford it, and it's not priced like my other high-end courses in the $2,000 to $10,000 range. Instead of saying that, I could say, if you hired someone to coach you through this process, you would invest anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000, but the tuition for this program is only $97. In other words, there's always a way to frame the value so that it makes sense to the other person. Okay. Again, yes, it helps that I have these things for sure, but I could make this convert very close to as well without those exact things by putting in other examples that really spoke to the person. So you don't really need that stuff, but of course, since I have the experience, I'm going to talk about it and I'm going to use it. Maribel says, in terms of pricing a product, I notice you use numbers ending in 7. Is there a reason for it? And what are your suggestions about pricing a product? Yeah, a lot of tests. A lot of people have found that sevens work better at the end. Odd numbers are more believable, and seven just seems to be a compelling number in pricing. It's been a long time since I've tested, so I just kind of do it automatically because at some point you get so many things going that it just makes sense to kind of stick with what works. And it's much faster for me now to launch a program, create another program than it is to test a seven or a nine or a five or something like that and get down to that level. But yeah, seven works great. A lot of folks use it. Also, if you're pricing a product, let's say at $997, 997 actually psychologically sounds like quite a bit less than 999. 999 is kind of worn. We've heard it a lot, but 997 just sounds less. And my suggestion for pricing a product is to test, to look at the market, to do a survey of your customers, to get out there and do a little bit of work, and also to just figure out how much your product is worth. I mean, what would it be worth to someone in real terms, and put all those together and come up with a price. For general kind of self-help things like dating and relationships and health and that kind of stuff, I've found that books that sell for $20 or $30, audio courses that sell for maybe $50 or $100, video courses that sell for maybe $100, $200, $300, maybe up to $500, those kind of ranges. If you're selling information about business and money, you can charge more. I sell courses in the $2,000 to $5,000, even $10,000 range. Obviously, there are courses that sell, for like $100, but in this area, I can sell an audio course for $100, $200, and I can sell video courses for $1,000, $2,000. So it depends on your market, but do some testing, do some research. From Nate. Hey, Evan, it's Nate. How much of our story would you recommend we dive into if we're newly emerging in our market? 1 minute or less, 2 to 5 minutes, 5 to 10. In writing long copy, I went to the extent of writing dozens of pages of my story, and it worked great. I'm wondering if it wasn't overkill, though, especially for writing a face-to-face video sales letter. So, what I'm trying to do here is show everyone how this doesn't have to be super complex, and it can be pretty easy, right? You don't have to write a novel kind of thing. But if you've got a great story, and the story includes lots of juicy tidbits, I could tell you I've written stories in dating advice where maybe it's multiple pages just for my story where I talk about how I discovered a secret or how I did something online that got this massive result. And it's a really riveting story. If you've got something like that, well, you can tell your story for quite a while, and it'll really build your credibility. It'll build value, and so forth. So you can tell a lot of pages you can tell a lot of pages of story and have it work really well, but it's not absolutely necessary. Okay, so the more you tell, the more you sell. Right, that's the old saying. And what I would say is the more compelling things you tell, the more you sell. So if you've got a great story with lots of twists and turns and things that would really pull the prospect in, use it. Okay, from Isabella. Hi, Eben, this is great stuff. My program is for moms to lose their belly fat. I'm hesitant to promise losing 20 pounds or a specific number because I don't know where they are and if they'll really be able to lose that much belly fat. It really depends on how committed they are. Also, do you recommend a 90-day program versus a 30-day program? Thanks. Yeah, so Isabella, what I would do is I would survey your moms and I would say, how many pounds of belly fat would you like to lose? And you'll find that most of them are in a range. Most of them are going to say 10 pounds, or they're going to say 15 pounds, or 20 pounds, or, they're going to say, between 10 and 15 pounds. And you can say, okay, 13 pounds. Find out what they want to lose, and then find out how fast they want to lose it. Ask them. I do a lot of 90-day programs. I like 90-day programs. I know a lot of people that have done 30-day programs. I've also created 30-day programs. So ask your customers. It's all back to them. Okay, from Nick. Forget you had some trouble. Okay. We position our herbal shop and restaurant as higher end. When it comes to offers, we don't want to do giveaways, discounts, none of that. In fact, we just raised prices by about 30% and saw a surge in volume, which blew our minds. How do you suggest constructing an offer for a brand that is targeted to the mass affluent and affluent markets that doesn't cheapen the experience? P.S. I get compliments from customers all the time about my conversational friendly tone in our emails and literatures. I learned that from you and was again very nicely illustrated in your example. So thank you for that. Yeah, absolutely, Nick. So I don't like to do a lot of discounts either. We found with some of our products that once in a while, offering a discount and then having upsells and back end offers works out. But I tend to avoid that kind of thing as well. And if you haven't heard this story, I learned a really important lesson when I wrote and launched Double Your Dating. And that was that when I first started selling it, I offered the book for $30. I think it was $29.95. And I sold it for months at that price. And then, I kind of got the system going and I decided, okay, now I'm going to test prices. And so I actually raised the price from $29.95 to $39.95, which when you think about it is pretty significant. That's a 33% price increase. And then I left my house and I drove down. I was living in Los Angeles. I drove down to San Diego to hang out with my two best friends, one of them being Dean Jackson, who had shown me how to write ebooks and put them online in the first place. So I drove down there and hung out with them for the day. And then we went back to one of their hotel rooms and I said, hey, can I borrow your computer to check my sales stats? And when I checked my stats, I had sold 10 copies of my book that day, which was a record. I hadn't sold 10 copies of my book. So not only had I increased my price, but I also sold more copies of my book than I ever had. And I realized, wow, you can actually increase your conversion sometimes by, raising your prices. So, you can definitely have that experience. Let's see here. So when you're, as you say, when you're constructing an offer, you don't need to think about cheapening the experience. What you're really working to do is build value. Okay, everybody has the need that they have. Everybody is looking for certain outcomes and results. It's all about building value, not cheapening the experience. I think a lot of times we conflate or confuse doing a promotion with discounting our price or hyping what we're offering. And you don't have to do that at all. You can build up the value. You can add bonuses if you'd like. You can just talk about all the great results that they're going to get, and so forth. So don't think in terms of discounts. Just think in terms of building value. Okay. So Gail, I read your question here. Gail's the pastel artist, and she's going to teach a workshop in a couple of weeks and pay attention to needs and frustrations. And you said you're excited and scared to make the videos. Now you have to think of a compelling offer. So, bottom line is, figure out exactly what, and we've talked about this. I remember we've done this a little bit in some of our past sessions. List all the fears and frustrations that your prospects have and all the things that they want to learn, and build the whole offer for the series around those things. That's really it. Okay, so you start with the shortened elevator pitch, but you just kind of keep coming back to it over and over and over. You notice in this script that I read you here, I kept coming back over and over and over to turning your talent into income, identifying your gifts, identifying big opportunities, connecting them, and then developing the skills into expertise that people pay a lot of money for. And everything that I said was one of those things essentially turned around, developed, explained a little bit more in depth, supported, expanded on, that kind of thing. And that's what you need to do. And I think you're going to do fine. You just have to make the list of all the things that they want to avoid and all the things they want to learn, and then expand them and talk about how you're going to show them how to do every one of the things. Okay. I think I think it's surprising to folks that I often use a teleprompter, um, see different questions about it and so forth. Yeah, it's really all about learning how to read in a way that sounds like you're being conversational. Okay, from Hugh. Hi, Eben. I'd like to get a product launched sooner rather than later. However, uh, when do you think is the best time to send out the sales letter? If we imagine that the prospect has come to my site, opted in for the free report, and is receiving newsletters, should I send it out after 2, 5, 10 newsletters? So, Hugh, there are two different things here. If you're sending out email newsletters, at the end of every one of them, you should be selling your product. In fact, you should be selling your product in the middle of every one of them, and maybe even at the beginning as well. If you're going to be launching a product, okay, if you're going to be doing a product launch, well, that might be a little bit different because you might have people come and opt in, and then you'll follow up with some videos, and then you'll launch the product during a window of a few days or maybe a week or something like that. So two different things, but if you're sending out email newsletters, you should be selling your product at the end of every one of them. Okay, from Nicola. I'm in the middle of teaching an online video-based course on organic gardening, the Abundant Veggie Patch System. I have 2 more modules to go, and then I'll relaunch the program. I'm unsure whether to launch it as a live course again with modules released each week and more Q&A calls. I got over my fear and held my first live Q&A call and loved it, and so did my customers, or set it up on autopilot where customers go through the material at their own pace. I want to provide a sense of urgency, so launching it live again will automatically give a cutoff date for enrollment, but eventually I'll have it on autopilot. How would you recommend launching a course that isn't live? And do you have any tips on whether it's best to do the course live again to get more leverage out of my work? I have 3 paying clients and my list recently doubled due to a guest post, or move on and make a new program. I want to make one on growing herbs in pots for balcony gardens. Thanks a lot. Well, great job, Nicola. A couple of options for you here. One thing you can do is you can offer the program as a coaching program, and you can give them the product that you've already created, and then they can tune in for question and answer sessions with you. You know, you can see in some of my courses I do very similar stuff, or you can kind of have a crossover there. It's nice. It's very compelling to have the live element, and based on how much experience you have, I would say it's probably better for you to be doing lots of these question and answer and coaching calls, because these are where you get all the ideas, and you get paid to get them, by the way. These are where you get all your ideas for your future products. So I would definitely do several more live series before you think of automating everything. And always stay in touch. Stay in touch with your customers and be doing stuff live. And congratulations. Great job. Okay. From Taylor. I've narrowed my niche to a physical fitness program that's designed for businessmen aged 30 to 60. I know from experience the program will really work wonders, but I'm not sure what I can put into a pitch that will entice a businessman aged 30 to 60. The program would be accessed first come, first serve, have slots of 25 or 30. Email videos for them weekly to get their exercises. The program I'd offer would last the better half of 6 months, probably 30 weeks. Will leave them in better shape than most 20-year-olds, knowing how to keep using the program the rest of their lives. At the same time, I'd offer them stress relief time management techniques with the exercises. I'm not sure how to translate fully in a presentation. It'll grab the niche. I'm also not sure how many times I should offer this program during the year. Any thoughts? So Nick, or I'm sorry, so Taylor, you got to get clear about why they want this. Okay, why do they want it? Do they want it so that they can move up in their business career? Do they want it so that they can attract a sexy woman into their life? Do they want it so they can have more energy? There's some main reason why the bulk of them want this, and that's the thing that you have to focus on. Okay, right now you're focused on what you're teaching. You're not focused on the result that they're going to get. Do they want to lose fat? Right? Do they want to increase their health and get more energy? Again, what is it that they want? And then when you can figure that out, then you're going to be able to get all the answers to these other questions. You gotta talk to them, and you gotta get figured out what they want. Okay, from Luis. Hi, Eben. I've decided to devote 10% of my profits to contribute to humanitarian causes, such as aid to developing countries, environmental issues, etc. Congratulations. I think that's a great idea. Would you add this on the value stacking in the offer, even if the causes this money go to are totally unrelated to your product? Or would you rather advise to just concentrate on benefits of the product, results for the customer, keep a low profile on the charity? I'm rather unsure about this issue, even if I'm completely committed to donating this part of my profits. I'm not sure if saying it up front may sound holier than thou and excessive display, and especially if it may distract the customer from the main issue at hand. So Luis, because I don't know what your offer is, I can't, give you a direct answer, that's perfect. But I'll say if you're going to donate 10% of your profits to help people, you should probably say that in your offer. Probably. Okay? As long as there's not a complete disconnect, but when you make your offer, after you've built your value and so forth, I think you can say, and by the way, I donate 10% of all the profits that I make to helping build schools in Africa for children. In fact, last year we built a school for children. Here's what it looks like. Here's a couple of pictures or whatever it is that you do, and say, so just know when you invest in this training, you're also helping a lot of other people that are in need. I think it's great to do that. Also, what's happening right now is you may have heard the term conspicuous consumption. Okay, so conspicuous consumption is how humans show off that they're wealthy. We buy fancy cars or we buy fancy clothing or big houses. In other words, we are saying, I have lots of money, so I can afford to kind of consume a lot. Well, as we wake up a little bit more and become more conscious individually and as a species, we're switching from conspicuous consumption to conspicuous charity. This is an idea I learned about from my friend Jeffrey Miller, who wrote the book The Mating Mind and also the book Spent. He's, I think, one of the smartest living evolutionary psychologists. And, conspicuous charity sounds almost like an oxymoron. It's like, well, wait a minute. If I'm being conspicuous about it, am I being arrogant? Is that too much showing off? Well, as long as you're not doing it, pointing your fingers at yourself and saying, I donate 10% of all my profits to charity, and that makes me better than you. Okay, as long as you're not doing anything like that, as long as you're saying it sincerely and saying it's really important to me that I integrate helping the world and helping other people in need with my business, that's why I donate 10% to charity, right? I think you can do that. I've done lots of different fundraising things. I estimate that I've personally raised and donated over $250,000 to various charities in the last few years. And it's super rewarding, right? And when you talk about it and you get your customers involved, I think they can have a lot of fun and they can play too. So great. Okay, Maribel asks, in terms of strategy for turning your talent into income, would you use this program as a teaser to have people buy more expensive products, or what's your strategy? Thanks for sharing. So yes, this program is what I would consider to be a front-end product. Okay, in other words, it's kind of an entry-level program that we can offer to affiliates to market to their list. It's something that we can use pay-per-click marketing. We can offer it to our list. And then when someone buys the product, we can follow up and upsell them. We can either give them inline upsells, which we just really released the program recently. We haven't even tested inline upsells, but we will. We can have one of our team members talk to them, sell them some of our other stuff. So yes, it's definitely a front-end product. It's all about getting customers. Oh, here's a good question from Annie. Would you say 90 days for a program as opposed to 3 months? Yeah, this is one where it's a little bit more art than it is science, right? A little more art than science. So 3 months to me sounds like a long time compared to 90 days, right? 90 days, I can kind of count to 90. 3 months sounds like, part of a year. So in this case, it sounds shorter, I think, a little bit more bite size to say 90 days than to say 3 months. And that's kind of counterintuitive because normally I would say if you have a number larger than 10, chop it up and make it into, a smaller number. But in this case, that's the way it felt to me. So that's why I did it. From Richard, virtually everyone in the business niche talks about saving money or making more money. Are there unique ways to approach these subjects that are more compelling or attracting? So the reason why people talk about saving money and making money, Richard, is because they work. And the unique way to approach it is to bring a unique spin to the game. Okay, so if, for instance, your niche is helping people double the amount that every customer buys, and then that's make more money, that's kind of your unique spin on it. Okay, if your niche is helping businesses cut their expenses by 20% and having all that money drop to the bottom line, okay, that's your niche. Well, then that's how you explain it. So in other words, it's connecting how you do it to either saving money or making more money, being more specific. That's the way to do it. Okay, from Amy. Eben, when I ask my clients about their biggest frustration about their money, they often respond, there's never enough. I know I can't get them more money. How do you suggest I turn that into a benefit that I can offer? My target is single women working in their 40s, 50s, 60s. My product's a training course on managing their money. I'm currently doing my first teleclass, trying to get lots of feedback from the students. Okay, so Amy, you've really narrowed into something here, and this is an important point, right? Everyone really needs to get this. Your customers want more things than you're offering them. Okay, so for example, your customers, they want more money, which is what you're telling them how to manage their money so that they can get more. You would do well to do a series of interviews, let's say, with women who are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, who figured out innovative ways to earn more income. And then you offer these interviews as bonuses, as teasers, as free line content for women that opt in, that kind of thing. In other words, if they want this other thing, give it to them, but offer it as a bonus, for example, or offer it as an opt-in gift, that kind of thing. Good. Carlos basically says, what about 12 weeks as opposed to 90 days? So, you know what? 12 weeks is pretty good. Okay. I like that. Sometimes when I say 90 days, sometimes I say 13 weeks. 13 sounds, I like odd numbers. Odd numbers tend to work a little better. But again, this is an art. It's not a science, and you'll probably do, really well either way. You're close enough there. Okay, awesome. Looks like I've gone through pretty much all the questions here. So thank you very much for tuning in, and make sure and watch all the stuff that I'm sending you and tune in next week. We've got a great training next week. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next week. Get those offers going, and I'll see you on the flip side. All right, have a great day.